Hi, my name is Ian. I'm going to be documenting some of my training on the road to UTMB 2021. I am a 54-year-old British athlete, do duathlon and triathlon as well, but ultra running I've really enjoyed in the last few years, and through a combination of building up the points, as you know what you have to do. My third time, lucky I've actually got a place in the ballot. So obviously travel issues in the world of COVID. I don't know whether or not I'll be able to go to France in August, but you've got to prepare as if you are going to. And my only goal is to complete and finish the race. I'm not an elite athlete or anything like that. I'm a good age group athlete in triathlon, duathlon terms, but I'm going to be targeting and pacing a finish for about 42 hours, which I think is probably realistic. I've done the CCC a couple of times in kind of 20-21 hours, and I did the South Downs Way 100 in 25 hours, so that seems like the right sort of time to be targeting. So everything I'm going to do is going to be based on that. My biggest limiter, and we're going to come on to training later on, is that I live in Brighton, beautiful town on the south coast of England, but we are at sea level at the coast. So there aren't many hills around here. Where I'm walking to just now is actually the highest point in the area, which is called Ditchling Beacon, and anyone who's cycled on the London to Brighton cycle ride will have had to have come up Ditchling Beacon. It's one of the steepest hills in the area, but at the top it's 245 metres, and this is north over here. The vertical up is 140 metres, so that is the biggest vertical I've got in my area, 140 metres. So later on when I start building the vertical, I'm just going to have to do a lot of reps there for my UK training. So those are the limiters. That's where I am, and I'll discuss the training and kit a little bit later. Okay, let's talk a little bit about kit, which I've been thinking about. Okay, first most important thing is the shoes. For all my ultras so far I've been using Brooks Cascadia, which suit me. I'm a kind of pronator to neutral, but I've got fallen arches, flat feet, and so my feet get very wide during long races, and I like the fact that with the Cascadia they don't have like a very rigid toe box, so there's space with mesh for your feet to expand. And I haven't had any blisters in my previous races, so I'll be sticking with that and doing that again. But for the rest of my volume, I actually rotate about I've got 5 different pairs of shoes on the go at the moment, and I rotate through them depending what I'm doing. For most of that road training I'm using Brooks Adrenaline GTS, which has always worked well for me, but also for the trail runs like today, a kind of 3 to 4 hour stuff, I've been using on Cloud Venture, and it's quite interesting, the only Brooks shoe that I don't use, although I've got some Nike Vaporfly for kind of fast races only, but the on Cloud Venture, which I've got on today, have been really good. What I really like about them is they support my feet, but they're good for trail, they're good on road as well. So I've got another one of those ordered. And then in relation to the rest of the kit, obviously there's a big compulsory list, and I've done the CCC a couple of times before, so I have all of those items. The backpack I've got on here is a Quechua one, which is pretty inexpensive, but I recognise it's probably heavier than a bunch of some of the models around. I actually prefer this kind of bladder approach rather than the pouches on the front. The disadvantage is you never really know how much water you've got left, and I've run out a couple of times in ultra marathons. But the pro is I just prefer it on my back rather than having stuff on the front. But I think I'm probably going to get something else and then just trial it and see. And for the rest of the kit, the jacket, the trousers, I'm pretty sure I'm going to upgrade those items, because I can probably save some weight. And when you're talking about 40 hours or so and all that vertical, and that could be you know, pretty significant. Obviously body weight and body composition is a factor in that as well, but hopefully, you know, if the training goes in the right direction, then my body weight should go in the right direction as well. So, you know, those are the key things I've been thinking about kit at this stage. I guess the watch, I've also been thinking about, talking to a couple of people. Yeah, how do you kind of record something that's going to take 40 hours? And I've actually got a Huawei, I think it's pronounced, on a GPS watch, which has an incredibly long battery time, and it also has like a Bluetooth thing, so you can take calls via the phone as well, which is really useful, you know, when you've got your phone in your backpack and you know, the family ring me or whatever, and I can tell them where I am and how I'm progressing. So I'll probably wear that, and then I'll also have a combination of different Garmin's, a couple of Garmin's that maybe will recharge, get my support crew to recharge during the course of the race. So those are my main thoughts about kit at this stage. Okay, let's talk a little bit about training. I mentioned I live in Brighton. Highest points around here are 240 metres. I've got Ditchling Beacon, and this that I'm going up right now is towards Devil's Dyke. This is another point about 240 metres above sea level. On the north facing side of the South Downs, where we are, is much steeper, and actually this section here goes up from somewhere called Poynings, and it's 240 steps, and then a bit of running after that, or walking, however you want to do it. And I kind of think this is probably one of the closest things to replicating some of those steeper ascents you get in the Alps. So, you know, at the moment I'm just finishing my first kind of training block, 3 weeks, where I've been averaging 9,500 kilometers a week. So I guess in miles that's something like sort of 60 or so miles a week. Just really looking for consistency there. Not much speed work at all in there, and to be honest with you, yeah, in an ideal world I would be doing a little bit more, some kind of faster tempo sessions and intervals, but I've got dumped. I've been doing some sea swimming in the winter, through the winter, good for body and soul, and I went in 3 weeks ago actually, and I probably shouldn't have, because it was quite a bumpy kind of day, and when I tried to get out of the water I got picked up by a wave and dumped into the beach. And Brighton Beach, well, any beach isn't good, but Brighton Beach is all pebbly, and I probably either bruised my ribs or I broke my ribs. And while running kind of generally slowly isn't a problem, whenever I've tried to pick the speed up, even now 3 weeks later, the pain is just a bit uncomfortable. So going none of those speed sessions, just looking at this stage at consistent volume and endurance. You know, it's a long way off. If all goes well, I'll do a marathon in April, depending on how lockdown goes in the UK and if those races are on. And then broadly speaking, I have 3 what would you call significant plans during the training. I'm going to plan to do a multi-stage trek in the UK around the coastline, probably over like 5 days or something, doing maybe like 30 miles a day. You know, not running it because I'll have a tent I'll be carrying as well, just looking at that endurance, because you know, the UTMB is not about speed for me, it's about having that endurance to be able to finish. And then, you know, what I'm lacking here is vertical. Much as I can do repeats of this sort of thing, it's pretty hard to replicate, you know, those 1,000-meter vertical ascents that you get in the Alps. So, you you know, if travel allows, you know, with coronavirus and everything, I'll look at 2 trips out to the Alps. Hopefully one to Switzerland, and then one which is a kind of course recce of the first kind of section of the UTMB from Chamonix to Courmayeur, because I've done Courmayeur to Chamonix on the CCC a couple of times. I just felt it would be useful to do that first section, just so I've got it on under my belt and I know a little bit about the ascents, and obviously for the vertical I can get in over a few days, and the altitude. You know, normally in the winter I work in the ski industry, and I'd be out in the Alps 5 times during the winter, and each time I go out, you know, I'm running. If I'm running in Val d'Isère, I'm at 1800 meters. Most resorts, even Chamonix, is 1000 meters, so you're getting some altitude practice. And I'm a big fan of ski touring as well, which is really good endurance at altitude. But this winter, obviously, I did actually manage to get out and do some ski touring in December, but all the other trips have been cancelled. So, you know, that's generally how I'm planning to do my training, and build, you know, not really worry about the vert now, and put the vert in, you know, June, July, and just keep consistent training in the interim.